Hello friends, today we're making a sweet watermelon theme summertime DIYs that are fun, colorful, and budget friendly, so let's get to crafting. I want to start with the easiest summertime decor you can make this summer using this huge watermelon tumbler. The moment I saw it, I knew I could make the cutest table decor. And you know I love sharing all my ideas with you guys, especially when they're this easy and fun. I'm going to start by using some painter's tape and placing it just under the rim. Then I'll add a plastic bag to cover the rest of the tumbler so only the top portion is exposed. Now I'm going in with this red spray paint to coat just the top rim section for that watermelon look. Now that the paint has dried, I'm going to hot glue the lid to the bottom just to give it a bit of stability. Next, I'll add some filler and then top it off with bright red flowers. The flowers represent the sweet, juicy watermelon look we're going for. And that's it. You've got a beautiful summer centerpiece for your indoor or outdoor table. Is this a yes or a no for you? For this project, I'll be using one of these Dollar Tree placemats. I really wanted green, but they only had red and blue. We're going to start by adding some hot glue to half of my placemat and fold it over, making sure the glue really sticks well. Then I'll fold it over again so it forms a pizza slice shape. Next, I'll add a little more hot glue along the edge of one side, press it down, and secure it with clips so everything holds tightly in place. This will leave me with an opening in the center, creating a cone-like shape. Now that the glue has hardened, I'll remove the clips. Next, I'll be spray painting it with this green color for that fresh watermelon look. The paint is dried. I mainly painted the front and the sides, leaving the back mostly untouched with just a light touch of green on the inside. Now I'm attaching this beaded ring from Dollar Tree. I'm going to take it apart and secure one end to the side of my placemat, which is now shaped like a little basket. Once that side is attached, I'll remove a few beads from the other end, thread the wire through the opposite side of the mat, and twist it to secure everything tightly. Then I'll trim off any extra wire, and just like that, I've created a cute hanging basket. I'll be using the same bright red flowers. I'm going to bend the stems towards the bottom, which will be the top of the basket, to give them more fullness. Then I'll place them inside the basket. The idea is to create a slice of watermelon. The red flowers represent the sweet, juicy center. I picked up this sign from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove one of the watermelon slices. Using a knife carefully, I'm lifting it right off. These are simply glued on, so they're easy to remove, just like I'm doing here. Then I'm going to hot glue it onto my basket. Now tell me, is this a yes or a no for you? I came across this $5 mat at Dollar Tree and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. I think you've probably guessed by now, I'm going to create a watermelon mat. It's really easy to make by using green and red spray paint. You can easily achieve the look. This mat already has these raised ridges, so I'm going to use them as my guide for where to apply the spray paints. I am, however, going to use some painter's tape to cover the areas where I don't want the paint to go. By using a poster board, I'm able to spray the paint only on the section I want. Since the poster board is flexible, I can maneuver and bend it along the raised ridges of the mat. The paint has now dried, so I'm ready to remove the tape and start applying some white acrylic paint to that area. Now to create some imitation seeds, I'm going to use some black puffy paint for that. I also went in with a brush to spread out the paint out a bit for more of a natural look. And now I'm going to let the paint dry for about a day or so, and then I'm going to spray it with a sealant. I really love how this turned out. Let me know if this is a yes or a no for you. For this project, I'm going to use these Dollar Tree crates. I promise this craft is going to be so adorable. The crates have openings on the sides, so I'm going to cover them up using some craft sticks. I'll just cut them down to size and hot glue them in place. I'll repeat the same steps for the other two crates. I'll be using some white chalk paint on one of the crates, painting it just the sides. I'll repeat the process on the next crate, but this time using green acrylic paint. For the last crate, I'll use red acrylic paint, and for this one, I'll paint the sides as well as the inside of the crate. While the paint dries, I'm going to create some mini watermelons using round floral foam. I'll insert a toothpick into the ball so I can paint it without it rolling away. I started painting the ball with the dark green acrylic paint, but I felt it was too dark, so I mixed in some white paint to create a light mint green shade instead, and I went with that color. This is how they turned out so far. I'm going to let the paint dry before moving on to the next step. I finished these two. Let me show you how I did it. I used dark green acrylic paint to create the lines. I used a paintbrush with thin bristles and started at the top, working my way down. Since the foam isn't a smooth surface, it naturally created those jagged edges, which helped mimic the look of watermelon ring lines. I also added a few strokes across the lines to make them look more jagged and natural. I made some words that say sweet and summertime with my Cricut. I'm gonna add sweet to the red crate and summertime to the green crate. If you don't have a Cricut, you can always write the words in with a paint pen or a marker. Next, I'm gonna stack them and hot glue them together, starting with the green on the bottom, then with the white in the middle, and finishing with the red one on top. Dollar Tree has these watermelon slice ice trays, and I had an idea for them, but not for ice. Let me show you. I'll be using red and green hot glue sticks to create watermelon slices using the ice tray. I started with the green and then added the red. I made several for another project. If you're interested in the glue sticks, you can find them in my Amazon store. The link is in my bio. The hot glue has hardened, and now I'm ready to remove the molds from the tray. I'm I'm going to trim off some of the excess glue to clean up the edges and help give them a more finished watermelon slice look. I'm going to use some black puffy paint to create the watermelon seeds. And this is how they turned out. And now I'm going to take 2 of those slices and I'm going to hot glue them to my crate. Next, I'm going to fill my crate with some moss and then add my mini watermelons. The moss gives it that fresh summertime look and helps the little watermelons sit nicely inside the crate. This craft was so fun to make. I love how it turned out. Let me know, is this a yes or a no for you? If you see these watermelon table covers, grab them. Also pick up a clear glass bowl, a glass cutting board, and a red candle, all from Dollar Tree, because I'm gonna show you how to make your very own watermelon theme candle. Let's go. First, cut out a section from the table cover. At first I thought it was paper, but it wasn't, so it couldn't be peeled apart, which was a bit disappointing. I kept going and carefully cut around the watermelon print anyways. Once I had enough pieces cut out, I used Mod Podge to attach them to the glass bowl. Because the curved shape, I had to make small snips in the prints so they would lay flat and smooth against the rounded surface. I placed the prints where I wanted them on the bowl, adjusting them until I liked the layout. Once everything was in place, I set it aside so the glue could dry completely. Now for the cutting board, I placed the prints underneath with the design facing up against the glass, so it shows through the top once all the prints were placed. I'm gonna let this dry fully. Since the table cover was in paper, the glue is taking a bit longer to set. Now for the candle, I melted down over the stove on low heat until it became fully liquid. This is how my bowl turned out. Now I'm gonna add 3 wicks to the bottom of the bowl. I'll be attaching them using these sticky tabs to help them keep them in place while I pour in the wax. Now I'm ready to pour in the wax. I'll be using some craft sticks to help keep the wick upright while the wax hardens. 1 candle wasn't enough to fill the bowl, so I had to melt down a second candle to completely fill it. The wax has hardened and now I'm going to add some watermelon slices into the candle for a fun summertime touch. Lastly, I'm going to place the cutting board underneath the bowl to complete the watermelon candle theme. This candle turned out so beautiful. Let me know what you think. Is this a yes or a no for you? Thank you so much for stopping by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a blessed day until my next video. Bye-bye and God bless.